Well, everyone, the Nothing Phone 1 has officially came out, and a lot of people were comparing this phone to the iPhone 12 when it initially came out. So let's go and see how they actually compare. If you want to buy either one of these phones, though, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can definitely tell a lot of similarities for sure. On the front, the iPhone 12 has a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel, and this is a pretty good panel. This phone came out in 2020, so it's definitely not like the oldest phone of all time, but it's definitely not brand new like the Nothing Phone 1 is. I think this phone on the front has a pretty good panel, and some would say the panel itself looks good, and in my opinion it does, but this notch nowadays is actually kind of outdated. I'm glad the 14 Pros are probably going to remove it, but that is a very interesting thing on the iPhone 12. On the Nothing Phone 1, on the other hand, we actually have a bigger 6.55-inch OLED display. Now, this is a pretty good panel as well. I want to say it's probably almost on par with something like an iPhone 12. I think the iPhone 12 panel looks better, but this Nothing Phone 1 does not have a notch, and it has a hole punch display. But on top of that, it also has a 120 Hz panel, which is so beautiful. The iPhone 12's display still is at 60 Hz, but it's actually a fairly smooth 60 Hz display. It almost seems like 75 Hz or almost like 90 Hz, not quite. But the Nothing Phone 1, by it having a 120 Hz panel, is awesome, and I will definitely tell you this is a better panel when it comes down to it. Now, in terms of thinness and thickness, the main thing to keep in mind is that the Nothing Phone 1 is a bigger phone in general than the iPhone 12, but it is almost the same type of thickness. Like, if I was given the iPhone 12 and the Nothing Phone 1, I don't think I'd be able to tell the difference, but it's because the Nothing Phone 1 is a bigger phone. It seems like a thicker phone, and it probably is a little bit thicker, but both of them seem kind of the same thing. No ringer switch on the specific Nothing Phone 1. Now, on the back, this is where things are very, very interesting. This is where people they were memeing the Nothing Phone 1 like crazy because of the similarity between these two. You can see the dual camera setups are stacked up on top of each other like almost the same exact way, but the Nothing Phone 1 has some very interesting stuff behind it. You actually have this LED backlight on this panel or on this back, glass portion. So if you're getting, calls or something, you can, get this thing to light up, which is really cool. On the iPhone 12, we don't really have that. We have wireless charging on both. The Nothing Phone 1 apparently has reverse wireless charging, which is really cool. You do have an IP certification on the iPhone 12, not sure on the Nothing Phone 1. USB Type-C port on the bottom of the Nothing Phone 1, Lightning on the bottom of the iPhone 12, and that kind of covers it up on the outside. Now, the main thing to keep in mind on top of this are these companies and software and longevity. So, when I say that to say, with the iPhone 12, we've known iPhones for a long time. We know Apple, so we know these iPhones are going to last for 5 to 6 years when they're announced. There's going to be some weird updates here and there. There's going to be some features that don't come on older phones, but for the most part, these phones are going to have a pretty long lifespan. We know Apple, we know when the next phone's coming out, so realistically, these things are going to maintain their value pretty well. And because of Apple having sold these iPhones for a long time, we already know where this iPhone stands. With the Nothing Phone 1, on the other hand, this phone has just came out. Now, I don't know the Nothing company. I don't know really too much about them. I just know what we're told, right? So I don't know if when the Nothing Phone 2 is going to come out. Maybe it'll come out next year, but there's a chance it may take 2 years for this thing the successor of this thing to come out. I think the company mentioned it's going to be getting 4 years of updates or something like that. But even then, we really don't know. We've seen a lot of Android phones come and go all over the place. And because of that, because this phone is so new, even when compared to something like a Google Pixel or a Samsung, it's hard to tell how long this specific phone is going to last. It's also not sold in America, so I don't know if the successor is going to be sold in America either. So there's a lot of, up in the air kind of stuff. I'm going to say this thing's probably going to at least last 2 years from this point. If the sales are good, I'm pretty sure they're going to make another one. If not, they may just sell the company and then move on from there. I don't know, but that's kind of how I see both these phones. The iPhone 12 and Pixels and Samsung are more solidified, but the Nothing Phone 1 has to probably kind of earn its stripes like OnePlus had to do, and now they've kind of lost their stripes. But because the Nothing Phone company and OnePlus have some ties, I'm pretty sure they'll, hopefully they'll learn from their lessons. Now let's go do a speed comparison between both these phones. The Nothing Phone 1 has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 770HE Plus chipset inside of it, with 8 gigs of RAM on the base one. It does go up to 12 gigs. This one has 8. The iPhone 12, on the other hand, has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go see which one is the fast one between both of these. Okay, there we go. Hopping out of the apps into this one, you can see they're both hopped out. So let's get into it. Phone calls, 3, 2, 1. Okay, iPhone 12 is faster. iPhone 12 is here. Nothing Phone 1 is here. Let's get into their app stores, 3, 2, 1. Now, like I said, 120 hertz on the Nothing Phone 1, and you can see the Nothing Phone 1 much, much faster there. Scrolling through here, I can definitely tell you in real life the Nothing Phone 1 seems a little bit smoother, but there seems to be, the iPhone 12 is still fairly smooth as well, but the Nothing Phone 1 definitely faster there. Hopping out of this one, let's go into the camera, 3, 2, 1. iPhone 12, I think, was the faster one there. Getting into a photo. Okay, let's go and click into the photo. Almost the same exact thing. Let's go and click on the edit button, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 12 was a little bit faster there. So hopping out of this one, let's go and get into their third-party applications that we have here. For the most part, we can try Genshin Impact. 3, 2, 1. Now this is a very big game, so it may take a second or two for it to fully pop up, but one thing I've done between both is play Genshin Impact in a lot of heavy games, and both of them do a good job. The iPhone 12 I think does a better job overall because a lot of these games are more optimized for this phone, but the Nothing Phone 1 still did a really good job for me playing certain games like Genshin Impact and some other games here and there. You can even see the loading times was almost the same thing. So definitely the iPhone 12 got into it just slightly faster, but the Nothing Phone wasn't really that far off either. So, and some other of these apps we can test Snapchat, 3, 2, 1. I'm logged in, but I'm not really logged in here. Hopping out of this one, let's go and get into Facebook, 3, 2, 1. I might be logged into an account here. Make sure you guys follow me on Facebook. I would really, really appreciate that. Hopping out of this one, let's go and get into Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now, I don't know why the Nothing Phone 1 was stuck there for so long, but that's totally okay. The iPhone 12 was just slightly ahead of the Nothing Phone 1, but again, things happen. As you can see, the iPhone 12 was right there. Nothing Phone a little bit slower, getting into the game itself. A few glitches between both, as you can see, but nothing crazy, like nothing earth-shattering. Hopping out of this one, we can go ahead and get into something like Twitter, which I don't have in either one. And honestly, I think that kind of covers up all the applications. I mean, for the most part, you're definitely getting a fast phone on the Nothing Phone 1, but I think it is quite possible that the iPhone 12 might be a little bit smoother and a faster phone. You have to remember that the Nothing Phone 1 has a little bit of a different type of chipset. It doesn't have the same exact chipset that like the Galaxy S8 and Z Flips have. It's a little bit different, but I think when it comes down to it, the iPhone 12 is the faster, smoother phone, but the Nothing Phone 1 is still very fast with that 120Hz display included, so it helps smooth things out. Now, in terms of the camera setups, very interesting difference. Like I said before, they pretty much have the same type of layout, so they look almost identically the same, but looks can be deceiving. Dual camera setups with wide and ultra-wide sensors, but the iPhone 12 can do 4K at 60 on the front and the back, which is really nice. So if you want a phone that's going to be able to have probably one of the better cameras out, this is still a very solid sensor. You're missing a telephoto lens that you have on some other phones, but this is a very good lens. I've had nothing but an amazing time with this camera, and out of all the things I complained about the iPhone 12, the camera really wasn't one of those things. I think it's a very solid camera. There's not really too many crazy features built in, but I think if you need a phone camera to pretty much last you for the duration of that phone, especially with the duration of that software, you're having a good time. 4K at 60 on the front and the back is really nice, and that's one of my favorite things about this type of phone. Now, on the Nothing Phone 1, on the other hand, you have a little bit of a different setup. So we have the same thing for the most part as the iPhone 12, and it looks almost like the iPhone 12 too. You can zoom in and out. The problem is you don't have 4K at 60 on the back, and you only have 1080p on the front. Now, is that a mind-boggling difference? Not really. I mean, if you don't really care about it too much, then it may not be a big deal to you. But that is something that when you look back, it's just one of those weird things why Nothing didn't put it in there in the first place. I feel like they could have done a better job there. And there's not really too many crazy features built in either. I mean, compared to even Samsung, Samsung's top tier, but compared to Samsung, when you compare other Android phones, Samsung is still top tier compared to this device as well. Even the Pixels are, the Pixel 6a, which is cheaper than this thing, has a better camera in my opinion as well. So that kind of takes us to the end of the video. And to be honest, I think the Nothing Phone 1, for its price tag, if you can get this phone for much cheaper than an iPhone 12, then I would recommend buying it. I think it's a very good phone. I just don't know, I don't know if I would buy this up over a Pixel 6, for example. I think the Pixel 6 is a better phone than this thing, and if you can get a Pixel 6 Pro in the used market, maybe in a couple months cheaper than this thing, then that's a way better phone than this thing as well. Now, on the iPhone 12, I think this is a great phone. I think this is still a very solid option, but I don't know, the Nothing Phone 1 has reverse charging, and it has a 120Hz display and a whole bunch display, and that's the only area where this iPhone kind of lacks in a little bit. Other than that, though, I think the iPhone 12 is probably the better one I would recommend buying. If you like the Nothing Phone, if you like Android, then I would highly recommend buying that phone as well. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.